Dr. Viper.
Mm-hmm.
Mutated by chemicals, snake-like in nature, and as Clever Fox kindly pointed out, he was basically like the combination of the lizard and the Joker, which, if you think about it, is a very disturbing combination.
It's reaping time!
No, stop that.
No.
If anything, when it comes to the whole Joker lizard mixture, if anything, it just reminds me of that one Batman meets Ninja Turtles thing where Joker became a fucking snake.
Pretty much.
But in this case, Dr. Viper turns into freaking Godzilla.
Exactly.
He actually does. And little known fact, Viper was supposed to be was supposed to be more of a standout villain in season 3 as well. In fact, um, the reason Dr. Viper's origins are explained late in the series, he became the way he is because of a chemical accident, well, started by his own greed. He was formerly known as Dr. Elrod Purvis. And basically, he's an expert in robotics, genetics, and biology, which makes him extremely dangerous. And because of his use of biowarfare, he is arguably the most dangerous villain in SWAT Kats because of this reason alone. And as of the end of season 2, he's been confirmed either dead or returned back to normal after the Godzilla incident. They haven't said which. What are your guys' thoughts on Dark Cat and Dr. Viper?
Dark Cat is definitely one of the intimidating ones I could see, and definitely I could see where the Doctor Doom mixtures come in from the whole, from the aspects of how he was able to accomplish things or what his goals were. Though it'd be surprising to me though I reckon I just want this may be off topic from SWAT Kats, but I remember how Doctor Doom's armor or something was made from his dead ex-girlfriend, I believe, or something like that.
I would not know if that's true, to be honest.
I believe it is, but if it just imagine me that thought if like somehow something like that for Dark Cat's clothing was made like that. But I digress. But Dark Cat seems to be a very interesting villain in his own rights, and like how Fox said, he could be like the literal fucking devil for all we know. And
Hazard said that.
Oh, sorry, my mind's a little on the fried from being tired, but it's okay. Literally the fucking devil, because he is sort of an unknown, and I even remembered how Hazard when Fox brought up that toy of Mad Cat, where they were deciding what the design of Mad Cat would Dark Cat would be, which is a cyborg. But I feel like honestly they did a good choice when they went the approach with him now in the series.
Well, the thing is with Dark Cat, like the thing of like I like about him is that he's a ruthless, sadistic, and very manipulative crime lord.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way, like a crime lord terrorist.
You're referring to the signal this communicator is sending, I assume? Well, let your men come.
If you had any sense, you'd know your death is a mercy for you and this world.
Like, one thing about Dark Cat and like through the series is he's not like any of the other villains. He's really not the type of villain that's going to go ahead and just cause mass destruction. He thinks out his plan. He manipulates the people he needs, like in the like Dr. Viper and such. He manipulates who he needs to manipulate to get to his goal.
Psychotic enough to get away with it at times.
Yeah, because I remember
a mega bomb with multiple red wires, and you know how Bomb Squad usually has to go off the clipping the red wire in those movies. Yeah, when Razor had to disarm one of his bombs, all of the wires are red.
I also know how he's able, very manipulative, or be able to persuade things on his way, because I remember how when Fox brought up the team up of when the Viper, Mad Cat, and the Metallic Cats, I believe, when Dr. Viper rebuilt the Mad Cats, of course they're not going to work with him because they want to kill the SWAT Cats their own way, but he had like some kind of control collar or some kind of collar on them to make sure they follow his rules and stuff, because if they don't, well,
shock collars.
Shock collars, yeah.
Basically,
in a way.
But the special shock collars, not only they shock them, but they would scramble their brains.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he just nice?
Yeah, he's so nice. I trust that man with my kids.
Zammy, Crossy, what do you think?
All right.
You want?
I thought Crossy was gonna go, so I shut up.
Go
All right,
ahead, though.
so I specifically think we never got so much of Dark Cat. He's more of a like the big bad boss that waits till the end and is plotting his ultimate demise while he's just watching you and seeing your like weak points, you know what I mean? He's kind of like the
Which is
big
what makes him so
bad
damn
tough
dangerous.
guy. Yes. He's like the big bad tough guy at the end, and you're gonna have a really difficult time beating, like maybe 2 to 3 episodes. Kind of like this is off topic, kind of like Goku and Frieza.
Your hair! What are you, gay? Yeah.
No, you're not far off though by that analogy.
Yes, that's what I think of Mr. Dark Cat. Viper though, he's a really interesting character. It's just like from my life, I have never seen any other than friggin' Harley Quinn, like the chemical take on things. I don't watch too much Batman, so this was like my first dose of a character and actually watching him, get Kara off into this like chemical shit. So it's really interesting how the thing that was supposed to make him billions and millions out of his own greed turned him into a fucking monster.
Well, that would be Viper in that case for sure, because, well, he wanted to basically be rich over, doing the right things, and look where they got him.
What are you doing, Purvis?
The name is Viper, and I'm going to need some allies. Ladies first.
It's raping time.
Just goes to show, greed don't pay, kids. Crossy,
Really?
Like, I'm just glad that they kind of gave for Dr. Viper, like, I'm glad they kind of gave an origin story. And not to mention, like, in season 1 with Dark Cat, like, they gave us, like, a flashback episode, like, of how, like, the SWAT Kats got fired from the enforcers and all that stuff.
Just a minute. I said you're off the force, but not off the hook.
Time to take care of Dark Cat. This time, we do it our way.
That's some good exposition if you think about it. Like, it answers the question of why they specifically despise Dark Cat. And honestly, I think it was a good move in that case, waiting till like a few episodes in to explain this. Because bringing out the big backstory would have made the others look like, lesser by comparison.
I feel like the next antagonist we should talk about, since they become, like, from what you told me before, they're a very popular type for most fans, the Metallic Cats.
Funny you mentioned that. That was the next on the list.
Basically,
the best way to sum it up, if I want to be really blunt, Robo, Bonnie, and Clyde.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much accurate to a fucking T.
In terms
They're
of
like
character development for any villain in SWAT Kats, the Metallic Cats are literally the most well-developed characters.
Well,
they're technically a married gangster couple, much like Bonnie and Clyde. They were former ex-convicts sentenced to life in prison for numerous crimes. Most likely a lot of them including murder, obviously. They look out for each other despite, constant arguments like any good married couple. At one point, they accidentally learned the SWAT Kats' identities, but later lost their memories due to Farrell's interference.
Commander, you surprised me. You could have...
Don't make a big deal about it.
So, what are your guys' thoughts on the Metallic Cats? I'll give my own thoughts after y'all.
Well, did you had something? I know you had something to add to the Metallic Cats or something, Fox.
Oh, I was just gonna say that when it comes down to the Metallic Cats, they are the most developed, like personality-wise, of any villain within the SWAT Kats, I would say, because of their constant bickering to one another. But that's also like their most downfall to them too. Is like they're so blind at what they're doing because they're always arguing with one another that they're basically idiots that is committing crimes that if they would just shut up and just listen to one another and think,
To be
that they would
fair,
actually
though, considering they led a mob for several years before finally getting thrown in jail, it says a lot about how capable they can be if they lessen the arguing. In fact, when you think about it, though, what made them idiots was because of how they basically, didn't plan out their escape well. They didn't plan out their revenge well. That was their big screw up.
You can tell, like, when it comes down to the Metallic Cats, Mac and Molly, that even though they're bickering and everything, when one was in trouble, that they would come to the aid of the other and that was in trouble. That they really did truly love one another. Mac was more the muscle, while I guess Molly would have been more of the brains of the situation. But with the manipulation, like especially like with Dark Cat and everything else, you could see like they stuck it out with one another. And that's one thing that I must say.
They never threw each other under the bus, not even once. Which is
Personally, they were
great, actually, as a,
And when it comes down to the Metallic Cats, they were personally not my favorite villain. Like, they were nowhere near like my favorite villain. They were there, but I guess they were okay. But it's just like they didn't really do too much. They really didn't do too much for them. The only episode I think I really liked them in, and I'm not, unlike you guys, y'all watched the series recently. I haven't. I just remember this stuff off the top of my head as a kid. Is like the one episode where Mac and Molly, they lose their bodies, but their heads are controlling the two cyborg machines that the SWAT Cats had to fight out. Now that episode I liked.
Yeah, but to be fair, they were basically going all in at that point because they wanted all in. They wanted to, get back at everyone who basically screwed them over or, put them in the position they were in beforehand.
Oh, I remember also when the Past Master, like when they went to the future and everything, the Past Master had them like reassembled and everything. And I still remember how they stole his watch.
Yep. Yeah. That just proves that the Metallic Cats don't look out for anyone but the Metallic Cats. And going off of that episode of Bright and Shiny Future, it tells you how potentially dangerous they are if they're let loose too long.
And you can correct me if I'm wrong on this one, but I think it was, I don't know which episode it was, but wasn't it Molly? Like, wasn't Mac in trouble or something? And then she actually would work with the SWAT Cats to save him?
Yeah.
It's actually in the final episode before the whole clip show thing.
You see, that's what I'm getting at, is that I haven't seen it in a long time, so I'm just remembering stuff off the top of my head.
Fine. At least
Yeah, you're fine.
Though I want to say, I feel like Metallic Cats had great, like Fox and Hazard was saying, the Metallic Cats seem to have great potentials as villains if they don't argue too much. But I almost kind of see them as that one-time villain that's a weird comedic relief to most audiences, if that would make sense.
If you want a comedic relief, I could have looked no further than Mad Cat.
No. Mad Cat... We'll get to Mad Cat. I was actually going to bring him up after the Metallic Cats, but by comedic relief, I mean that slight humor that the audience could see, because again, SWAT Cat seems like to be a basic hit action show from what it seems, and there is like slight humor, but I feel like those two, the way they argue, how they were able to pull stuff off and just be random and not random, would argue a lot and somehow would either get himself in trouble or pull it off. I just feel
sometimes
like it. Yeah, and a combination of both. I feel like it's a slight humor thing, how they can show it in a way. You know what I mean? Because if anything, if kids might not notice that, most people see that, most adults do that in a way. But I digress. But it's just like a weird slight humor thing, how it's possible. Like for those two are great are okay villains. I'm not saying they're the best, like compared to Mad Cat or Dr. Viper, no. But I'm just saying they're like, they're kind of interesting villains. I will say,
it's a better relationship than the Joker and Harley Quinn, because Joker doesn't give a shit about Harley Quinn, but the Harley gives a shit about Joker. In this case, the Metallic Cats, doesn't matter which one's in trouble, the other one's coming to the aid.
Yeah,
This is very true.
and there is very, very less much abuse like how Joker would to Harley.
Oh yeah.
Not sure what I can say about that one because I mean these two beat the crap out of each other.
Well, that's true, but the thing is,
I mean they got metal bodies that can do it.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. The metal bodies they could get away with it, but with Joker and you know what I mean by the whole abuse when it comes to Joker and Harley. Crossy and Zammy, anything you want to put your inputs with the Metallic Cats?
So my overall thought on those guys, it's wasted potential. They're always arguing with each other. It's so fucking annoying. Just like do something. Like stop arguing. That's my personal thought. Like I can't go anywhere beyond that. Just like please shut up, stop arguing, and at least try to like do your job and try to terminate the SWAT cats instead of fucking fighting every 10 seconds.
I'm just sitting here thinking, man, I bet their sex is pretty interesting.
We're gonna stay off that topic.